My name is Lena Carlson, and I was 29 years old, living a pretty straightforward life in Columbus, Ohio. I worked as a project manager for a small tech company, which meant I was usually good at spotting problems and figuring out how to fix them before they got too big. My world wasn't exactly exciting, but it was comfortable, predictable, and I liked keeping things organized. I guess you could say I was the kind of person people often came to when they needed a little help, whether it was setting up a new computer or just getting advice on a tricky situation. I usually didn't mind, I actually liked being helpful. One afternoon, my boyfriend at the time, whose name was Mark, came to me with a bit of a pickle. Mark wasn't really into social media. He preferred living offline, which was fine by me, but it did mean he sometimes needed a hand with online stuff. He'd recently bought this really expensive car radio and sound system, a $600 setup, ready to install it in his old car. But then, as luck would have it, a fantastic deal on a newer car popped up and he bought it on impulse. The new car already had a top-notch sound system, so the brand new one he just bought was now completely useless to him. The store wouldn't take it back, saying too much time had passed since the purchase. Mark looked at me with those puppy dog eyes, holding the unopened box. Lena, he started, could you maybe try selling this for me? You're so good with all that online marketplace stuff. I sighed, but I understood his predicament. It was a lot of money to just let sit around. I told him I'd give it a shot on Facebook Marketplace. I took some good pictures, wrote a detailed description, and posted it, hoping someone would be interested. A few weeks passed with no serious bites, just a few lowball offers, which I politely declined. Then one evening a message popped up. The buyer was named Kevin and he seemed legitimate. He asked if we'd be willing to ship the radio a few states away. I explained that it wasn't my item, but my boyfriend Mark S., and that Mark would be handling all the details. I gave Kevin Mark's phone number and told him to coordinate directly about shipping and payment. I figured my part was done, I had connected them, and Mark was a grown man, he could handle the rest. I honestly didn't think much more about it after that. It was just another item off my to-do list, another favor successfully completed. I was a little proud of myself for helping Mark out. A whole month went by, and the car radio saga had completely faded from my mind, until Mark brought it up again, looking a little sheepish. Hey Lena, he said, avoiding my eyes, could you message that guy Kevin about the car radio? He never sent me the rest of the money. My brows furrowed. What do you mean the rest of the money? What happened? Mark explained that they had settled on $400 for the system. Kevin had sent half of it, $200 up front, and promised to send the remaining $200 once he received the package. Mark, being the trusting soul he was, had shipped the radio, even provided all the shipping details, and Kevin had confirmed he received it. But then silence. No communication and certainly no $200. My jaw tight. Mark, I said, trying to keep my voice even, that was a rookie move. You never send something before getting the full payment, especially not to someone you don't know. I felt a knot of frustration in my stomach, not just for Mark, but for myself. I had set this whole thing up, and now it felt like I was indirectly responsible for him getting scammed. I decided right then and there that I wasn't going to let this slide. I immediately went to Facebook Marketplace and found Kevin's profile. My blood pressure probably spiked when I saw it. The man was an absolute idiot. His profile was completely public, an open book for anyone to browse. His entire life was laid out for the world to see. His extensive friends list, his job title and workplace, pictures with his wife, his children, his parents, his siblings, even his dog. Every single detail that a scammer should keep private was front and center. I quickly took screenshots of everything, every photo, every piece of information, just in case he got smart and decided to block me or privatize his account. I wasn't leaving anything to chance. Then with a deep breath, I sent him a message. Hey Kevin, I typed, trying to sound calm though I was seething inside. This is Lena. I'm following up on the remaining $200 payment for the car radio Mark shipped to you. I waited. A few minutes later, I saw the dreaded read receipt but no reply. I waited a few hours, then sent another message, a little firmer this time. Still nothing. I tried sending him a Venmo request for the $200, clearly stating what it was for. Ignored. This went on for 2 days. Message after message, ignored. Venmo request after Venmo request, ignored. He was clearly trying to ghost us. That knot in my stomach tightened into a hard, cold ball. This wasn't just about the $200 anymore, it was about the principle. It was about someone thinking they could take advantage of Mark, and by extension me. I knew what I had to do. My helpful nature had been betrayed, and now my helpful nature was going to turn into something else entirely. I sat down at my laptop, a grim determination setting in. I pulled up Kevin's public Facebook profile again, a mischievous glint in my eye. He wanted to play games? Fine. I was good at games, especially when the stakes were personal. My first target was his friends list. I scrolled through it, looking for anyone with his same last name. It wasn't hard to find a handful of them. I started with his wife. I clicked on her profile, which was also mostly public, and sent her a polite but firm message. Hi, my name is Lena Carlson. I'm trying to reach your husband, Kevin. He owes my friend Mark $200 for a car radio he purchased and received. He's been ignoring our messages, so I was hoping you might be able to help him get in touch with us to settle the payment. I hit send. Then I found his mother's profile. Same message, slightly tweaked to be even more polite but equally clear. And then his father, and his sister, and his brother. One by one, I sent the same message to every single family member I could find with his last name. I imagined them all getting these strange messages from a complete stranger, wondering what Kevin had gotten himself into. The thought brought a small, satisfied smile to my face. But I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. To really drive home the point, to ensure he understood the full scope of his idiotic decision to scam someone with a public profile, I looked for his workplace information. It was right there, proudly displayed, a local construction company. I found their main office number and picked up my phone. My heart was pounding, but I pushed through the nerves. This was it, the final piece of my little puzzle. I dialed the number. It rang several times and then went to voicemail. Hi, I said, trying to keep my voice calm and professional, though there was an undeniable edge to it. This is Lena Carlson. I'm trying to reach Kevin, who I believe works there. If you could please give him my name, Lena Carlson, I'm quite certain he'll know what this is about. I didn't elaborate, didn't threaten, just left a simple, vague, yet incredibly loaded message. I wanted him to wonder, to panic, to connect the dots himself. I hung up the phone, a deep breath escaping my lips. The silence in my apartment felt heavy, charged with anticipation. I had planted the seeds of doubt and embarrassment. Now I just had to wait for them to bloom. I wasn't sure exactly how it would play out, but I felt a strong sense of justice bubbling inside me. He thought he could pull a fast one. He had another thing coming. The next morning, I woke up with a feeling of nervous energy. I hadn't heard anything from Kevin, but I also hadn't really expected to. I made my coffee, went through my usual morning routine, trying to distract myself, but my mind kept drifting back to the messages I'd sent and the voicemail I'd left. Just as I was about to leave for work, my phone buzzed. It was a notification from Venmo. My heart leaped into my throat. I opened the app and there it was, $200 from Kevin, with a transaction note that simply said, "Payment for car radio. Apologies for the delay." A wave of relief washed over me, quickly followed by a surge of pure, unadulterated satisfaction. He had paid. It had worked. I messaged Mark immediately to tell him the good news, and he was ecstatic, thanking me profusely. I knew I had done the right thing, not just for him, but to show that guy he couldn't get away with treating people like that. The consequences for Kevin, I imagined, were just beginning. While I received my payment, Kevin was likely having some very uncomfortable conversations with his wife, his parents, and probably even his boss. I had done my part, and now the dominoes would continue to fall in his life, all because he decided to be a jerk over $200. I knew that the next Thanksgiving dinner at the scammer's house wouldn't be very jolly. His family would certainly be asking him why he was such a complete jerk, trying to scam people and dragging their names into his mess. My new normal was slightly more cautious about online dealings, but also a lot more confident in my ability to stand up for myself and for others. And as for any unexpected twist, well, the real twist was that Kevin probably thought he was just stealing from some faceless person on the internet, not realizing he was setting himself up for a very public, very family-wide reckoning. Some people never learn, but I had a feeling Kevin had just learned a very valuable and very embarrassing lesson.